Welcome to the Carousel of Happiness Podcast. I'm your host, Allie Wagner. On last week's episode, I shared an update on the October 9th fire that burned the Caribou Village Shopping Center, where the Carousel of Happiness is located. While the carousel itself only suffered minor exterior damage, the main shopping center building, home to 18 local small businesses, was completely lost. On last week's episode, you learned how the community is responding to the fire and how the carousel is supporting its neighbors. Since we reopened last Thursday, we've been offering free rides to anyone who donates to any of the local fire relief efforts. After our first weekend, I am delighted to report we raised over $2,000 just in that first weekend. And that's only accounting for cash donations, not electronic ones, which are trickier for us to keep track of. Thank you so much to everyone who came in and donated. Thank you so much to everyone who came in to go for a celebratory spin, to hug the animal that you've missed so much, and to celebrate the fact that the carousel is, in fact, still here and still spinning. On today's episode, well, I don't know what we're going to do. Typically for these episodes, I've either written something in advance or I have an intention that I want to call forth and share in an episode. But the truth is, last week was a very strange week for me, a strange week for the community. It was a week in which we were reacting to the fire. It was a week in which I was calling contractors for bidding estimates and responding to news inquiries. It was a time where we, by nature of what had happened, needed to be in a reaction sort of place. And that happens, right, after a big shift like the fire, or perhaps a death, or a move to a new place. These times where we experience a large shift, often on the other side of that large shift is a bit of an awkward phase. It's a bit of an awkward phase because we've got sort of one foot in the new place and another foot in the old place. And that awkwardness, that not quite here, not quite there-ness is what I want to talk about today. Because the reality is, in all of these big major shifts in our lives, there's this after moment. And I'm not talking about the after moment of the on the other side of this big glorious change. I'm talking about the in-between. The in-between that major shift and the bright, shiny person that this shift is calling you to become. I'm talking about the awkward growth stage. I'm talking about the not quite here, not quite there yet, this is slightly uncomfortable sort of stage. And one of the reasons I'm talking about this is, well, quite frankly, I don't have anything else to talk about. I have a couple of podcasts that are in the works, but they're not quite developed. And I want to allow those stories to breathe and to come together organically rather than forcing them. And so part of the reason we're going to talk about this is I have nothing else to talk about, but I also think it's relevant because this in-between stage is often overlooked. The in-between stage is often overlooked, quite frankly, because it's very uncomfortable and awkward. And chances are you, dear listener, are feeling something similar. Chances are whether you were in Nederland for the fire or not, you've got something going on in your life right now that is the equivalent. Something that has shaken up your life in a way that you're waiting for those bits of the snow in the snow globe to settle. And I think one of the things that I enjoy is sharing my experience just in general throughout life, but sharing my experience in these awkward moments because it makes me feel less alone. The truth is, I have 3 half podcast episodes that are sort of created and sort of not. And also, the fire just happened, and that has taken my attention. So I can feel this sensation of half of my energy building toward where I'm going, and half of my energy being pulled back to where I've been. And here's the thing is that I know for a fact that if you're listening to this right now, chances are you are also feeling the same way. And when I can share my story, when I can share the details of what's going on within me, even if it's messy, especially if it's messy, and you can hear those details, you can hear that information, there's a way that we can connect through this universal human experience. We are always in a state of becoming. We are always changing, always evolving, always reaching for something in the future. That is the nature of being a human in a body. You're always changing. Now, depending on how much you're allowing yourself to change or how allowing your environment is to change, you might be changing just constantly to the same person. But I would venture to guess, because of all of the change that we're seeing on so many levels, that chances are this time is different. This time is different. You're not being allowed to use those same behaviors. You're not being allowed to show up in the same way because your life literally is demanding you show up differently. It's demanding that you show up differently because that's what your evolution requires. And so I just want us to sit in this in-between stage. You in your in-between stage and me in my in-between stage. And together right now, we can take a big, deep breath. Together right now, we can step back from where we are at present and see if there might be some wisdom in this transition. See if there might be some divine guidance in this transition. Now, depending on how acute your change is, it might be too soon to step back. But give it a shot. Take a step back and imagine your future self. Imagine that bright, shiny you in the future who's going to look back at this moment that you're in right now and think, oh my goodness, that was it. That was the thing that happened that made it impossible for me to keep my old, tight, itchy sweater on. That was the moment in which I could not keep doing this thing that I've been doing for however long, doesn't matter how long. that I can't keep showing up like this. I can't keep doing this because, quite frankly, it is so uncomfortable. There is that Anais Nin quote that I will butcher right now, but it's the idea that there is a moment where a bloom, a flower that is about to bloom, there is a point in which it is too painful for that flower to stay closed. And it's in that precise moment where it's too painful for this flower to stay the way that it stayed, all close and tiny and confined, and pop. There it goes. Into a flower the bud becomes. And the chances are, if you're listening to this, you are also feeling what I am feeling, which is this, oh my gosh, it's so incredibly uncomfortable to be this bud right now. And the truth is, we can focus on that discomfort, or we can accept the discomfort, relax into it, and allow ourselves to bloom. Big, deep breath in. Big, deep breath in to feel that tension wherever it is in your body, and on your exhale, accept the tension and see if you can release it. Big, deep breath in and exhale. One more time, big, deep breath in and exhale. The in-between stage will not last forever. It won't last forever, despite every part of your body and your mind and your heart and your soul fearing that it will last forever. It will not last forever. And it's what we do now that matters the most. What we do now is the difference between us staying where we've been or making that leap, making that hop, making that jump, or just relaxing and allowing the river to take us where we're destined to go. And the truth is, all of this tension that's inside us, all of this, what is the word that I'm looking for? I guess tension is probably all of these negative sensations, this tightness, this constriction that we might be feeling is actually evidence that where we're going is really, really interesting for us, really fun for us, really dynamic for us, because that tension is our old way. It's our ego. It's the part of us that, oh, bless his heart, just wants us to be safe. And the more we feel this tension inside us right now, the more we are guaranteed that on the other side of us is something bigger and brighter and shinier than we ever could imagine. But we have to figure out how to be okay right here. We need to figure out how to be okay temporarily with not being okay. Taking a breath, taking a step back, trying to see the wisdom in whatever transition you're in. And also accepting what is. Just like with this podcast episode, this is my present right now. The fire happened last week, happened. Things have been happening in my life, and I'm in the in-between stage. Not quite here, not quite there, feeling that tension within me. feeling that part of me that is so incredibly ready to be big and bright and shiny, and that other part of me that is super scared. Super scared because who knows at this point? Who cares at this point? I don't need to know why I feel uncomfortable right now. I only need to accept that it's slightly uncomfortable now. But it won't always be. And the same thing is true. Excuse me. The same thing is true for you. May you enjoy your in-between stage. May you know that you are not alone in your in-between stage. May you know that no matter what is going on for you right now, I get it. It's bananas, it's bonkers, those people aren't understanding you, the world feels like it's topsy-turvy, all of the things. If you feel crazy right now, you are not alone. You are not alone. And you're also in the state of becoming. Just like me, and just like everyone else around you. I invite you to share your vulnerability with one person this week. It can be your dog. It could be your best friend. It could be your spouse. If you are in this in-between stage and you're struggling, go tell one person. Go tell one person, because I can say from personal experience, it feels quite nice to admit that vulnerability to someone else. And chances are, whoever you feel called to share your experience with, your honest experience with, chances are they needed to hear it too. Chances are they are experiencing their own in-between stage and could really use an acknowledgement that they're not alone. We'll be back next week with a more traditional episode. But in the meantime, take care. Be well. And as we like to say at the Carousel of Happiness, don't delay joy. And we'll see you next time around.
Beginnings and endings are only pretendings. I'll see you next time around. I'll see you next time.